Hi, this is Bob Bobson.
This is Bob Bobson Dad.
Today, we're going to be bringing you a movie theater review of Fast and the Furious 6, or Fast 6. We finally went and saw it in theaters, and before we really get into any of the movie, what I'd really like to talk about is the cinematography. Just first off, they did a lot of like spinning the camera around in circles. Like there's that one point when Dom and Letty are talking, and they just keep spinning the camera around, and they're just standing there talking, and I started getting dizzy. I was like, what is the point of this?
Yeah, a lot of it was kind of shaky anyhow.
They did a lot of shaky cam stuff. You know what? All the action in the whole movie was all shaky cam. It kind of reminded me of every action scene in Transformers, where you see like arms moving and things moving, but you really can't even tell what's going on. You don't know who's winning the fight. You don't know who's winning the race. You don't know who's winning anything because everything's shaky, spinning in circles, quick cuts back and forth. It's hard to even tell exactly what is happening.
That's because with their budget, all they could afford was a hand cam. Mm-hmm. You know, they couldn't afford any kind of stable camera work. They just had some guy, some crackhead that they pulled up off the sidewalk and said, "Do you want to film this movie?"
I think they had a sufficient budget.
Well, yeah, for the actors, they had to pay them something.
All right, so now let's just kind of talk about the plot of this movie. It starts with
plot.
Starts with Dom and Brian. They don't say where they're living, are they? They're just basically living out.
Yeah, they're in some country.
They might have said in the last one. I think they're in the same place where they left off in 5, and they're just kind of like out on the beach or whatever. And Brian's having his baby. Well, he's not having the baby, but his baby is being born. And who comes back into their life? The Rock. And he needs their help, and he lets them know that who is it? Letty? Or Mia?
Letty is still alive.
There's too many characters, but Letty is still alive, and he needs, of course, he has the Army, the Navy, the Marines, the police, everything at his disposal, and what does he need? A couple of street racers to come help him bring down the big international terrorist. Now, when did Fast and the Furious go away from street racing and stealing DVD players of the first one to stopping international terrorists? Like, what? Isn't that what the Army is for? Well,
actually, The Rock doesn't. He's just by himself.
Yeah.
Him and this woman that, surprise, surprise, she ain't who you think she is.
But they have police and everything, with them. They're kind of like their own organization, but they have everything at their disposal. And he thinks the best way is to get some street racers. And not because the criminals are street racers. They're trying to create some thing to shut down the military. It has nothing to do with cars at all.
Yeah, well, it's some kind of electronic device that would black out a whole country for 24 hours. So I don't know. To me, this is the worst piece of crap I ever saw. I'm glad it only cost $1 to get in. That was $3 I spent on it. And
okay, we're not to that point yet.
I'm past it.
So basically, Dominic will only help if he gets his whole crew together. So, got to bring back everyone from 5.
No, Dominic just wanted to do it by himself.
Well,
it was
but
The
Rock. Then The Rock said,
"There's
no way you could do this without a crew."
Right.
Once he told him exactly what he was up against, then he said, "Okay, I got to get everybody back together," and so and at stake, basically, is they're all going to get pardoned if they can pull this off. But Dom's only in it to find out if Letty's still alive. They think maybe he's trying to trick him. They're not sure. So they all get involved, and they're facing against this guy who used to be like in the military, and he's trying to build this thing because it's worth billions of dollars. And basically, that's when all reality is lost in this movie. The stunts in this movie are completely ridiculous and unbelievable. People flying through the air like Superman. Cars being used as an anchor for a tank. A tank running over every car until he gets to one of the cruise cars, and then it just pushes it along the road. What else was there kind of for ridiculous?
Everything about this.
Everything.
The criminal has this custom-built car that has about a 1,200 horsepower engine, and one of the police cars is like a Hyundai that has 16 horsepower. They can keep right up with it. You know, they can't outrun it. I mean, the Fast and Furious crew. They're driving BMWs. You know, like they can really keep up with this car. It's the front of the car is made like a ramp, so cars drive up it and they fly. They fly all over the place.
So the main criminal, he's in like this souped up, completely custom built. It's not a car; it's just custom built car.
Because it looks like an off-road vehicle. Because it's more like a roll cage with a huge high horsepower engine.
But basically, it's going to be super light, extremely high horsepower, and they're chasing him in they had the BMWs. And then The Rock is in some like military truck.
A military truck.
Off-road. It's not the same one from 5.
That has a top speed of 50 miles an hour, and he's keeping right up with it.
He's about 3 inches behind it the whole time. And I'm like, this guy's going like, obviously extremely fast. I mean, the car just goes around a corner like that. It doesn't even slow down. And this truck is just right behind it at all points.
Well, that's because it has a magnetic suspension,
Yeah.
It's glued down to the
ground. But how does the truck stay with it in the turns?
Yeah, but see, that's military issue, so they have a special suspension that the military has that even though the truck's 12 feet in the air, it can't roll because those tires. See, over there in Europe and stuff where they're filming this, they have different spec on military vehicles. The asphalt and the tires on the military vehicles, they're like synced together. So you could take a turn at 300 miles an hour, do a U-turn, and you won't even slow down. You just take and go. Okay. That's how they're made over there.
And then they finally get into one street race. Finally, they're like, what did this franchise start out as? I think at one point there was a street race. We should just throw in a street race just so people won't think we're too far from our roots.
Fast and Furious was about street racing.
And so,
period. That's what it was.
Letty is in some car. I didn't recognize it. He's in Dom is in a Charger Daytona. They're racing through the streets of London. He has no clue where the track is, but somehow he knows how to race it. And the cops are like 2 inches behind him the whole time, until they crash, obviously. But they can't even lose the cops. What kind of street race is this?
So there was one other point I wanted to make. In the trailer that you see, it shows them pulling down this huge military aircraft that's designed to transport tanks.
Heavy equipment and stuff like that.
Yeah, real heavy. Well, they're inside of it,
tires.
And the plane is trying to take off, and the pilot goes, "We can't take off, we're too heavy," because 2 more people got on the plane. And this plane
It was 3 people and a car.
Yeah,
because they drove that car onto it.
But that was
The Rock, Dom, and Brian all got on.
Okay, and then the plane is overweight, it can't take off.
We need more speed, we're too heavy.
The plane... Now, all this time, there's all this fighting going on for at least 15 minutes.
Wait. First of all, they're on a runway, already driving down the runway. The airplane lands, doesn't stop, it just keeps rolling. They drive onto it. So all this time is happening on the runway.
And it's still being chased by cars, and it's still going down the runway, This runway was about 25 miles long. By time it did stop, there's the end of the runway. It was like...
The scene's probably, 15 to 20 minutes long. They're just driving down the runway.
Yeah.
And then right when they finally stop it, that's the end of the runway. Like, how long was this runway? Like, they went across at least half the country. Possibly half the world.
And they pull it down with a couple cars. Okay.
So, we don't want to get too much into the ending. But if you can get through all that bull and unbelievableness, which all the Fast and Furiouses have been pretty unbelievable. They just keep getting more and more unbelievable. I mean, they've always had crazy stunts that you could never believe in a million years would ever work or ever happen. Yeah, I didn't think the movie was bad. I thought it was a decent enough plot. You know, they brought back the characters. They continued the story. They kind of, they are relying on that nostalgia factor of you liking the characters less than the movie is good.
Actually, what they're really relying on is you to pay your hard-earned money to go see this piece of shit that they just keep coming up with time and time again. And the first one, they should have stopped after the first one. The first one was more believable. That was the most realistic, believable one out of the whole deal. Except when the Charger does a wheelie for, I mean... it could probably do a wheel stand if the engine was like they were showing, but they're just lost.
The question I have is, how does Dominic always end up in a Dodge? He drives like 4 Dodges in this movie.
Well, he's paid by Dodge. Dodge is a good part of their budget. It probably gives them money so they can pay for them because they can't afford a cameraman to hold the camera steady.
So... at the end, though, there is, after a little bit of credits, there's a hint, obviously a big hint, at the next one. I won't spoil it at all, but I thought it was kind of, unbelievable, but kind of, it seems like it would be a cool idea for the next one. But I thought this movie was okay. I didn't think it was the greatest, obviously, just because of the unbelievableness of the stunts, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'll give you a hint on the ending of the movie. What it is they're going to lasso the moon and they're going to pull it down to the earth and crash it into a car to see if it'll wreck it.
Okay, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.
All right.